Hey everybody, my name is Alex, and in this video we are going to talk about the Autonomys GPU plotter. They've been talking about it for a long time, and Nazar just randomly dropped a bomb this morning in Discord with a link to an experimental release for the GPU plotter. I had just got it working. It took a bit of effort. It's an experimental release, or I don't know if they call it like a release, but it's might not work for everybody, but it worked for me. I had to do a little bit of extra work because I was using an old NVIDIA driver and I needed to expose my GPUs in Docker, but I was able to get it working. I'm running an RTX 3070. It's not utilizing the entire GPU. There's probably going to be some efficiency improvements, but I'm getting about 3.14 sectors per minute. So that's like a 20-second sector or so. And then in the Discord, I saw there was some people getting 5.7 sectors per minute. There's someone with a dual 4090 getting 10 sectors per minute. So we can expect to probably see improvements on this, and as more numbers trickle in, I'm sure we'll get a kind of like a dashboard or a tracker that shows, what you can get with each of the GPUs. You should be able to use multiple GPUs. As long as it's a 2000 series or better. Unfortunately, I have a bunch of 1070s that I won't be able to use, but that's totally fine. Uh, yeah, so if you're using Docker and you're on Ubuntu 24.04, I think you should be able to just follow what I'm doing to get it working. So the first thing you're going to want to do is download this .deb file from the NVIDIA website. It's basically the local repos for the NVIDIA driver. Once you do that, you'll do a sudo apt update to update the repos, and then you'll install the NVIDIA driver 560. That's if you don't already have it. I was on 535, and I didn't need to uninstall anything. I just updated to 560 using apt, and it was perfect. So I rebooted my PC afterwards. And you're going to need to also install the Docker NVIDIA toolkit. So there's this big curl here, and all of this basically will get everything working like you should. Oh, one other thing. When I went to do sudo apt install NVIDIA driver 560, I think it first failed and it was like, or no, maybe it was the repo command. Yeah, I think it was the repo command. It basically like said that I didn't have the right GPG key, and then it gave me a command to download it. So if you do get that, make sure or a command to install it, make sure you do that. Just follow the prompts when you're running these commands if it gives you like a little warning. So yeah, install the NVIDIA Docker toolkit. It's very similar to installing the drivers where you just get the repo installed, you do sudo apt update, and then NVIDIA container toolkit. Then you're going to want to run or add the NVIDIA CTK runtime, basically the NVIDIA runtime to Docker. And I can't remember, basically I ran this command and then it said like the JSON didn't exist and then it created the JSON file, but it should just automatically do what it needs to do. And then you need to make sure you restart Docker. And then honestly, if you want to just do a system restart after this, just to know that you're looking good, you can do that. And you can type in a command NVIDIA-SMI after all this to make sure that you're running the latest drivers. Okay, now how to get the Docker image. If you go to the Autonomys GitHub, there is a branch GPU plotting. And I just cloned this branch. I think you could like build this if you want like the executables, and maybe those exist somewhere already. I don't know, or the binaries, but I use Docker, so I figured why not? I'll just build the Docker image myself. So I cloned the GPU plotting branch, then I CD'd into subspace, and then I ran docker buildx build dash progress plain dash t, and I'm calling my image Autonomys GPU farmer. And you only need the farmer, you don't need the node. make sure your node's running September 3rd. And if you're using clusters, make sure everything else in your cluster is using September 3rd. And then you can build this image. And then dash F, so we're using the Docker dash or Docker file dash farmer Docker file to build this image. And then don't forget the period at the end, setting the context here. And it's going to take some time. There's one step, at least for me. I've got kind of a slower system. It took a couple minutes, maybe 10 minutes or something to build the image. If you have a slower computer, it might take longer. If you have a faster computer, it might be faster. This should finish. And then if you do Docker image ls, you should see the Autonomous GPU farmer. And then I also have, like just my normal farmer that I was running prior to this. And just a side note, like you should be building this image wherever you need it. I don't know how to if you can transfer an image or something like between computers, but you should clone the repo, build the image on the computer that you're actually going to be running it on. And you should be able to do that with all the commands that I showed you before. And then you need to make a few updates to your stack file. So for me, I have a farmer plotter. You can basically, if you have container name, you can just leave it. You're going to need to update image with whatever you called it for -t. So autonomous GPU farmer is what I called it. So I'm putting autonomous GPU farmer here. That would replace the Gemini-3H, this whole URL here. And then keep cluster, keep your NAT server if you're running that. I don't know how you would do this if you're just running a farmer. I think you don't need to change anything for your command, except for if you want to add --CPU sector encoding concurrency is 0. Make sure you add it after plotter if you're running a cluster. And this will basically turn off your CPU, so you're just plotting with the GPU, which I actually prefer. Time zone, keep the same. This is for spaceport if you're using it. You might not have it. This is my network, so replace it with whatever you're using. And then you're going to need to add this whole deploy section. So deploy, resources, reservations, devices, NVIDIA. If you want all of your GPUs, like let's say you have 5 of them or something, you can put either like 4 if you only want to expose 4, 2, 3, whatever, or just all if you want all of your GPUs exposed, capabilities, GPU, and then don't forget runtime NVIDIA. So that's what the main things that you need are the runtime NVIDIA added to yours, the deploy added to yours, and if you want to turn off the CPU plotter, you can add that. And from there, you should see this plotting, CPU plotting was explicitly disabled. That was at concurrency 0. Using CUDA GPUs, used CUDA devices equals 0. That's the GPU index. So if you have 2 GPUs, it'd be like 0, 1. It doesn't mean that I'm using 0 total GPUs. It's just index 0 for the GPU. And then you should see it starting to plot here. If I go over to Bender, you can see I am just cranking out these plots here just in this 1 minute, I've got, 3 sectors getting finished just in this 1 minute. So I'm getting about 3 sectors per minute. So really great performance. This is a 3070. Let's open up, let me share. And actually, GPU usage is pretty good. GPU usage, where is what I'm looking for here? Did that show up? No. There we go. Okay. This is my GPU. So I'm only using 129 watts, about 1.9 gigabytes, 86% utilization. It's kind of bouncing around. I have it to highlight changes. It's running super cool, 60 degrees Celsius, and fans at 60%. So everything, it's kicking out some heat, but overall, I think there's definitely some optimizations that could be done. And if you want to run a command like this, it's just watch-d-n5, so it refreshes every 5 seconds, NVIDIA SMI. And I think the -d is like to show changes, like delta or something like that. and then the watch command will watch it. So you can run that, and you'll just be able to monitor every 5 seconds NVIDIA-SMI. So yeah, I wanted to get this video out. It literally was like 12 hours ago, or maybe not even that, that it was released, and I wanted to give it a try. It took me a little bit of time to get it working because I had an issue. My piece cache had to sync, and then I don't think it starts plotting until your piece cache is synced. I haven't confirmed that because like it was broken when I was syncing the piece cache, and then when the piece cache was fully synced, um, I figured it out like how to get it working. So you should at least probably see the controller. So if you're running this, you should at least see finish piece cast synchronization or starting to sync or something like that before your GPU starts plotting. So I don't know. Pay attention to see kind of like when it happens, and if you know the answer, like throw a comment in if you're able to start GPU plotting before your piece cache is fully synchronized. But yeah, GPU plotting is here. That I think this means that the official GPU plotter, like the official release, will be out soon, and hopefully we'll see some improvements with the GPU plotter to plot even faster. By now, I think almost everybody's plotted all their space. I actually have some space I need to replot because I moved some things around and the drives got formatted. So I've got like a couple terabytes that I need to plot, so this will be fun to test out. I've also got one drive that I'm kind of using as a benchmark drive, so I've got a few different CPU or GPUs, not a bunch of them, but I'm going to try. I've got a 3070, I've got a 3080 Ti, and I've got a 4090, and I've got like, yeah, that's pretty much it, because everything else is like a 1070 or like a 1080, so those don't work. But either way, very exciting news to see the GPU plotter out. Hopefully you can get it working. Like I said, it's experimental or it's not the official release. So if you have some troubles, you can try getting help in Discord. There's a lot of chatter about it, but don't expect necessarily like everything to work perfectly. That being said, hopefully you're able to get it working. If you do get it working, feel free to throw a comment and let me know how fast you're plotting and what GPU you have. I'm very curious to see like the difference performance. Oh, and one obviously because I'm showing you the plotter, you can do it over cluster, but you should be able to do it like just farmer and node too if you're not running clusters. But I only run clusters, so I haven't actually tried it with a regular farmer. But all right, I will see you in the next video.